in tax revenue. What did his police department do to stop illegal brewed alcohol products that led to death? Nothing. During the 2017 deliberation of the bill, the then Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Bheki Cele, said they were not going to create the mentality of the big brother with the African custom. There should be no problem with people making mkomoti to bring their bride home. If South Africans are to avoid a catastrophic economic implosion, the consensus is to vote out the ANC as a first step towards placing the country on a prosperous path underpinned by the rule of law and strong institutions. The DA was therefore not shocked to see the President refer the Liquor Bill Products Amendment Bill back to the Portfolio Committee for reconsideration, or when the ANC tried to promote themselves at the vaccination center with prominent church leaders, or when the ANC tried to self-promote themselves during the government handing of title deeds over to the black farmers in Tafelkop. And the ANC is lost cause, Honorable House Chair. And President Cyril Ramaphosa is unable to stop the rot. The DA agrees with the President that we as lawmakers must be able to do the right thing and listen and do the right thing in the Portfolio Committee. Parliament should consider adopting step-aside rule for the ANC committee members who are failing this parliament, especially Honorable Cele. This bill was not correctly tagged and rightly so had to be referred to the National House of Traditional Leaders before being passed by the National Assembly. What ANC has proven good at is rushing to pass the bill before every election. But let me tell you, ANC, electorates are fed up with you. The bill is, in its current form, includes the regulation of traditional African beer. Therefore, the President that the bill affects the customary practices and must be referred to the National House of Traditional Leaders. Again, the ANC majority failed to see all these things. The DA welcomes the feedback from the National House of Traditional Leaders and the legal services.
You are part.
The ANC's inability to function in the committees. DA support the report and we reject corrupt ANC sloganeering used in government programs. I thank you, Chair.
Hamba,
They are afraid of the truth, Honorable Masipa. Tell them.
Like the ANC members on a bit of nyaupe today.
Please, honorable members on the virtual platform, I know some things may be irritating. Please, let's mind our language. As we Thank you. Let's proceed to the EFF. Anyone wishing to make a declaration? No one. IFP.
House Chair, just struggling with. Sorry, House Chair.
Okay, Honorable Babu.
Honorable Matthias will come in now, Chair. He's just struggling with network issues, Chair.
We will allow him before the ANC if he comes back, no problem. Just try and connect him. IFP.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Allow me to sit in the dark because of the load shedding. All members, the exercise of cultural rights as part of customary practices of 1996. The Constitution protects customary practices and cultural rights so that the traditional communities can live in dignity without undue reference by government. Any government policy or law
Inkosi kabekhulu.
Regulate any aspect of traditional
Honorable-
life or
Honorable
fair
Kulu.
customary rights.
Honorable-
The view regulation.
Honorable Tabakulu, hey, we are breaker asikuzwa nakancane angazi ukuthi ungathola ispace nyana la ungathola inetwork engconywana in the meantime. Can you try that and try again? Siyaxolisa. Awuzwakali uyabreaka. Usesenathi Nkosi Xabekhulu? Akazame sizakubuyela kuye, we will retain your
Honorable Chairperson, if you would
Yes.
allow, perhaps I could assist from my side if the signal is clearer and deliver Nkosi's comments on this one.
Let's allow him to come back. If he doesn't, you will. We
Thank you.
proceed now to other parties. We still have the minutes there. She's still left with 1 minute 42 seconds. But we didn't hear anything. We'll give Ubaba Cebekulu 2 minutes as if he comes back or you come back. We proceed now to the FF Plus.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Chairperson, the FF Plus is in support of this report. No further declaration. Thank you.
Thank you. The ACDP. Anyone on the virtual platform?
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable House Chair. Honorable House Chair, the position of the ACDP on the imbibing of alcohol is well known. Clearly, the biblical injunction of wine is a mocker and strong drink is raging, and whoever is deceived thereby is not wise, is just as applicable today as it was then. It was on this basis that the ACDP supported the restrictions on the sale of alcohol during the early lockdown period as a means of freeing up hospital beds and staff. Our positional stance on this has been vindicated, and many, including medical personnel and frontline workers, can attest to this. With that being said, the ACDP is aware of the reservations of the President on the Liquor Products Amendment Bill pertaining to, firstly, the tagging of the bill in terms of the Joint Rule 163 subsection 3, and secondly, the effect of the bill on the regulation of traditional African beer and its effect on customary practices with regards to the production, distribution, and consumption of traditional African beer, particularly as the bill was not referred to the National House of Traditional Leaders. The ACDP notes that the procedural defects in the bill have been corrected and that the National House of Traditional Leaders have been consulted. While the position of the ACDP on alcohol is known and unchanged, we recognize the importance of regulation in safeguarding human health and safety, as well as the necessity of control and preventing the proliferation of the production for sale of illegal liquor products. The ACDP hence supports the committee's recommendation and also this report. I thank you, House Chair.
Thank you. The UDM. ATM. Good. NFP. AIC.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. We think the President was spot on in returning this bill. He has got a great respect and regard for the traditional leadership. We do appreciate that because it does recognize our traditional leadership. It doesn't mean that men are being stopped from drinking. It's just a way of regulating this too much indulgence in liquor so they should not nest any fears. We do support the adoption of the bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cope?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. COPE supports. Thank you.
Thank you. The PAC?
Honorable Chairperson, the PAC supports.
Thank you. Honorable Hendricks, Aljama?
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair. Honorable House Chair, there has been research in Australia and in many other countries, and the research has been repeated over years that increasing alcohol trading hours increases alcohol harm. You were quite right that the position of the DA speaker could be irritating. Honorable House Chair, it is the most irritating speech I've ever heard in the Sixth Parliament, and it's a disgrace to the Sixth Parliament that such a speech has been made. The ACDP has given leadership with regard to what our position should be on this particular matter, and I would like to congratulate and thank them. The DA tried to make Cape Town the drunk capital of the world, and now they want to make South Africa the drunk country of the world. This is unacceptable, and it must be opposed. We hope that the traditional leaders will take into account the research that increasing alcohol trading hours will increase alcohol harm, and that they will give leadership to the country. Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Hendricks. Can we now see if the Honorable Matthias is ready to proceed for the EFF?
Thank you very much, House Chair. I'm taking it on behalf of Honorable Matthias.
Re a leboga, ntate, o ka tswela pele.
Chairperson, when we debated this bill for the first time here, we told you that it would be foolish and insulting to African culture if the bill were to pass with the kind of reference it made to African traditional beer. While we lauded the other objectives of the bill in relation to regulating the production and sale of alcohol, we felt then, as we still do now, that the drafters were overzealous in the manner they characterized traditional African beer as among the alcoholic beverages that needed to be regulated. We told you then, as we do now, that umqombothi is not just an alcohol, it is a drink used by Africans to connect and communicate with their ancestors. It is an indelible aspect of African culture, one that can't just be wished away by the stroke of a pen. We therefore fully agreed with the reservations of your president of the ANC, Honorable Mandela, that the bill should not be passed in Parliament with glaring defects such as these. The fact that it did not pass Parliament is evidence of just how much this House has retreated from the habit of thinking in favor of a herd mentality that is now so deeply embedded in the ruling party. The report of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture on how it has attempted to correct these defects fails to appreciate the argument we made and which the President of the Republic also made. It fails to appreciate the changing nature of South African society, and that today, because of rapid urbanization, there are many women in townships who brew umqombothi for sale at a very small scale. They still service your traditionally inclined men who still identify umqombothi with their culture. It is therefore foolish to categorize this kind of production for sale as commercial production. No one produces umqombothi for commercial scale. It is produced for a specific need. The Portfolio Committee has once again failed to appreciate the full extent of the President's objection to the bill, and we feel that amendments made are not taking us anywhere. Now, before I conclude, House Chair, it is important that I reflect on what my friend in the DA said. If the DA thinks that farmers are only white thieves who stole our land, our position is that the land must be shared by all and ensure that land ownership patterns reflect the demographics of the Republic of South Africa. It is our quest. If our quest of fighting for return of stolen land amount to not loving farmers, then I do not know what love is. Equally, the electorate, as much as correctly Sondate Masipa, they are fed up with ANC. they are equally fed up with the racist DA. We reject the report of the Portfolio Committee. Thank you very much, House Chair.
That's why the EFF is not winning any elections.
You're coming back strong, Mutusi, forward.
Order, order. Hey, I can't say anything and funu kwelele man. Hey, yo. Babu Kulu, uyatholakala.
Uhlalo, he's having problems. Ndabazita is having problems. He's asked me to proceed.
You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. As Ndabazita was saying, the IFP views the attempt to regulate traditional African beer as an invasion of customary rights. Sifuna puza mqombo uhlalo. In the absence of compelling evidence of health and safety concerns concerning the production, distribution, and consumption of traditional African beer, the IFP sees no reason to interfere with traditional communities in this way. It goes without saying that if there is excess energy to make legislation, that energy must be expended on real issues that need real legislation. It is not within our legitimate powers to try and impose legal requirements on each and every aspect of traditional life. Traditional communities are protected by the Constitution, and that should be respected. African traditional beer, as others have said, is an integral part of customary life, which we should not feel justified to interfere with. The IFP agrees with the President's reservations that the Liquor Products Amendment Bill affects customary practices on the production, distribution, and consumption of African traditional beer, and that any attempt to regulate in this way affects these communities, whose input must be sought. This committee is obliged to solicit and consider the input of traditional communities. In our law, this requires us to refer the bill to the National House of Traditional Leaders for input, which has been done. What is left is the referral of the bill to the National Council of Provinces. Subject to the correction of referencing errors identified in the bill, the IFP accepts the recommendations of the committee and this report as a whole. Ngiyabonga, Chair.
Thokoze Mhlonishwa. Thank you, honorable members. Are there any objection?
ANC declaration, Chair.
Oh my God.
Undibala kanjani Sihlalo?
Ngiyaxolisa. House Whip, may I call on the ANC?
Enkosi, ndiyaxolela Sihlalo wendlu. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister Toko Didiza, Honorable Deputy Ministers, Honorable Squacha and Honorable Dlamini, Honorable Members and Honorable Members of the media, naso sonke isizwe sakowethu. Mandiqale ngokutsho ukuba si-ANC thina siyaneliseka ukuba lamaqhiniba umongameli bewaphakamisile kulo mthetho sihlomelo siwathathele ingqalelo futhi kananjalo njengoba ikomiti yawuthumela lo mthetho kwindlu yenkosi nakwindlu yenkosi apho siphinde futhi neziphakamiso zakhona sazithathela ingqalelo. Sibamba ngazo zibini ke kumongameli nakwindlu yenkosi. Ezindawo sifikelela kuzo nje sifikelela kuba siqale sawufika phaya ekuthini kanene abantu bakokwethu oko babethe bathathelwa umhlaba, bathathelwa indlela zokuphila, bathathelwa nezinto abaphila ngazo nendlela abaphila ngazo kanye nokufuna ukuthathelwa nobubona obu. Yiyo nangxaki le eyenza ukuba abantu bazabalazela ngokukhululeka. Ukulwela inkululeko ke yinto apha ke ngoku ehlangene nokulwela abantu kubuyisa ubuni nobumi babo. Xa ndithetha ngokulwela inkululeko ndithetha ngento apho ke kwi-ANC exhensa entla. Hla. Kwi-constitution yayo i-ANC pha ku-section point 2.5 ithi ithetha ngale nto nje xa ikowuta kuthiwe a South African nation with a common patriotism and loyalty, in which the cultural, linguistic, and religious diversity of the people is recognized. Naku ke kusonakala ke ngoku Sihlalo. oko kwathi kwafika izinto zasentshona nditsho nendywala zakhona utywala besintu ze-African beer yaqala ngokuyanyaniswa nobundlobongela nobuntlavini nobundladiya nokungaphucuki nokuba semva kanti nazi effects. The African beer has always been consumed on social activities. It was always offering for the ancestors, and it was always important part of African social fabric and used for dietary purposes. African beer was brewed and consumed at ceremonies and occasions such as funerals, weddings, entertainment for friends, and for religious and initiation occasions. Zizinto ke ezi ebezizinto ezixhaswa ukuphila nokuba khona kwe-African beer, utywala obu besintu. It is important, therefore, that given the transformation nature of the South African Constitution, our interest as the African National Congress is to realize that the importance of legislative and policy implementation towards the achievement of a better society for all South Africans. It is important to ensure that the development of legislation and the policy impact on the rural livelihood and practices of traditional communities should help these communities to unleash the economic potential. And therefore, as ANC, we support the proposals on this liquor products amendment bill. And we note that the proposal amendments are in relation to the commercial production and sale of African beer and will not affect the traditional home brewed beer for personal consumption and for cultural purposes. For this purpose, Tina, CANC, we support this bill. I thank you, Chair.
Sithokoza Mhlonishwa. Are there, that concludes the declarations on this motion. Are there any objections to the report being adopted and the bill with a technical correction being passed? Any objections?
Al-Jamaa would like to abstain.
Al-Jamaa would like to abstain. Thank you. That is noted. Thank you. We proceed. The objections are noted and the
Did you
bill.
note our objection? Because I think the network is giving us a problem. Did you note our objection?
The objection of the EFF will also be noted, and the motion has been agreed to, and that's saying that the bill will be sent to the President for assent. Honorable members, let us remind each other that tomorrow we start earlier than usual at 10 hours in the morning. That concludes the business of the day, and this House is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you,
Recording
Chair.
stopped.